Hello and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. Today we are going to be working from Milk Street Fast and Slow, Christopher Kimball's book, from his publisher, his company, Milk Street. And we're going to be making white bean dip with roasted red peppers. Now we're not going to be using the Instant Pot today because we already made the simple white beans, and I'll link that up there, previously. And those are what we're going to be using for this. There are several recipes that use the beans you made previously. I've already used about 2/3 of them. I used those for my white chicken chili, which is really kind of more orange, but whatever. And I'll link that up there. I just sort of made it up as I went along and followed those general guidelines and used those beans instead of canned beans. And even though they have sage in them, worked out fine. But we are following the recipe in the book for this batch. And, actually, the first thing I'm going to do is make a little topping, kind of like a gremolata. It's not really, but in this bowl, I have some lemon zest. And I'm going to add, yes, some chopped mint. And oh my goodness, I had to buy mint and it made me feel so annoyed because if you don't know, we have tons of mint that grows outside of my kitchen. I don't remember planting mint, but every year we have tons of mint and it's winter. And so there's no mint yet right now. So had to buy it. And then this is parsley, Italian parsley, also chopped. And again, I was a little annoyed that I had to buy it, but it's winter, we had some snow, and my plants have not really recovered. So it is what it is. And we're not going to do anything else to this. There's no salt, no oil, nothing. We're just going to mix this together. And this will go on top of the bean dip when we're done. I'm going to set this aside. You can kind of see what that looks like. That's it. And now you do need a food processor for this or something. It doesn't have to be this big. This is a relatively small amount, but into the food processor, we are putting basically the rest of our ingredients. We have the beans. Now mine were a little bit, some of them were a little undercooked, and I wish that I had tasted them and made sure they were completely done before I drained them, but I didn't. So it is what it is. And I'm hoping that this sort of helps that. Some of them were fine, but there were a few that were a little crunchy. Hopefully, since we're going to blend it all up, that'll be fine. Let's see. I was supposed to measure that lemon zest. I didn't. It was about right. Whatever. So we have the beans. We need some lemon juice. I'm going to use this same measuring spoon, even though it has a little bit of the herbs in it, because those are going to go in at the end anyway. So if my lemon juice gets a little bit, yeah, we're just going to use all of that. Got some garlic, just whole cloves. Doesn't say to chop those up at all. Let's see. Now, these are the roasted red peppers. We did not roast these all by ourselves. We just took them out of a jar, which you can obviously do. We've made roasted peppers before, and if I can find that, I'll link that here for another recipe, but you don't have to make them yourself. And peeling them is one of my least favorite jobs in the kitchen. So, but these are, I just chopped them up a little bit so I could measure them more easily. They've been patted dry, just pulled out, dry them up a little bit, measure them out. All done. Let's put some salt in here. There we go. And some fresh pepper. I'm not going to measure that. Seems good to me. And some olive oil, which I am going to use. I am going to measure. Yes. He says extra virgin olive oil. It's whatever I have on hand. May or may not be. I don't really care. It's in a dip. A lot of flavor. Use what you like. And we're going to put some paprika in here. Sweet paprika, not smoked, not spicy. And then we're going to use this to top it when it's done. Just a little bit more. So there we go. Puree until smooth, about 30 seconds. Scraping down as necessary. So we'll see. All right. I'm going to scrape it down a little bit because we definitely have a few bits that are not getting all mixed up. I'm pretty sure I've read that if you're going to make a bean dip, you should probably make it with the warm beans. It'll blend up better, but these are cold from the fridge. Just is what it is. Let's see. I think that came together pretty well. I'm going to give it a few more seconds, but I think we're pretty good. Oh, at this point, I am going to taste it for seasoning. See if I think it needs any more salt or anything. No, plenty salty. So we're just going to give this a little bit more of a blend. All right, I'm going to call that good. It's pretty smooth. I think because mine were a little crunchy, I might have a little more texture in here than you may like. Who knows? But we're going to transfer this to a serving bowl and plate it up. And I'll show you that since why not? Because there is sort of an extra component that goes on with serving. Well, I couldn't find a bowl that I liked. I might need to go thrifting for some more serving dishes just to make things a little bit nicer up in here. But we're going to put it in this. It's going to be a little bit large, I think, but that's okay. Just kind of want to make this a little prettier on top because we're going to sprinkle this with some of the paprika. I kind of feel like that should go last, but it's not what they say. So I'm going to do my best to sprinkle from this bag. It's going okay. There we go. As much as you like. We're going to drizzle with some olive oil. Use the best that you have. Like I said, this is what I have. Think of this like hummus. There we go. And we're going to top these. Top this with the herbs. And lemon zest. I'm not going to put quite all of these on here, but as we eat it, we can add more of any of these things if we feel like it needs it. So I'm just going to set these aside. We're going to have a little bit of a snacky dinner. Not exactly a charcuterie board, but I like to call it a snacky dinner. So this is going to be um, one of those elements that we're going to have. He says to serve this with pita chips or crudité. I have some mini naan that I'm going to heat up in the oven, and that will be delicious. We also could have some, we have a little bit of leftover baguette I could toast. We could serve with this. Maybe some carrots or celery or I don't cucumber. I don't know. Whatever you want to dip in this, you can dip. And we'll let you know what we think in just a minute. On this episode of Cooking the Books with Heather, you watched me make white bean dip with roasted red peppers that we used the simple white beans that we made previously from Milk Street Fast and Slow, Christopher Kimball's book. I was thinking, one of the recipes we cooked recently was from the front cover of the book. And it's like, hey, we'll just make all the front cover recipes. This one has so many recipes on the front cover, can't do that. Well, could. It'll take a while. Anyway, we used our Instant Pot as a pressure cooker in that one. I don't think I've ever used mine as a slow cooker. We could have for those simple white beans, but we didn't. But then we used about a third of the recipe for this white bean dip with roasted red peppers. And we really liked it. It was delicious. It had a lot of flavor. It was kind of hummus-like, but my kids who don't really like hummus liked it a lot. So that's good. I don't know if it was the roasted red pepper. You can get roasted red pepper hummus. I don't know that we've ever had it, but they tend to not like hummus in general, so I don't usually buy it. Instead, if we go to our favorite Mediterranean places, I will get some there, and then I don't have to make it. But we still have some of this left, and we will be having the rest of it later today, actually. Warm up some naan and cut it into little triangles, and then you can just sort of scoop it up, and that's what we're going to do with that. Today is the Super Bowl Sunday, so we're just going to have sort of a spread of stuff, including this dip and another recipe that you'll see coming soon. And yeah, I think it was pretty easy. You just throw the beans into a food processor. Food processor is definitely a requirement for this recipe, but it makes it super easy. If you've enjoyed watching me make this, please give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and come back and watch me make something else next week.